Jingle your keys and get in gear with a car loan from ACB. Drive away with a loan that fits you. Get up to 100% financing and 10 years to repay on a new or used car. Plus, get a pre-approved credit card. So rev up and get in gear with the Simply Smarter car loan. Call or visit us or go to acbonline.com for more.
ACB Caribbean, simply smarter banking.
Jingle your keys and get in gear with a car loan from ACB. Drive away with a loan that fits you. Get up to 100% financing and 10 years to repay on a new or used car. Plus, get a pre-approved credit card. So rev up and get in gear with the Simply Smarter car loan. Call or visit us.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Talking Sports. I'm your host, Leroy John Baptist, aka JB, and joined again by Colin Francis. Welcome, Colin, aka Colin.
AKA Colin. Yes, thank you, John. You know, and it's good to be back again, another edition of Talking Sports here on this good day in August. JB, you want to be called JB, right? You told me that.
Yes.
Okay. I refer to you as JB.
Yes.
But I have to confess, I thought your name was John Baptist.
Well, I'll tell you a little secret. About 18, 19 years of my life, I thought my name was Leroy. John was my middle name, and Baptist was my last name. And it's only after, I don't remember, where I was in Jamaica doing something, and then is when I recognized actually John Baptist is my last name, so I had to go and do all the legal paperwork to get that sorted. So yes, I'm actually hyphenated, and it's John, not JN or JNO. So that's where it comes from.
That's the very next question. How you spell it, John?
Yeah, I'm John.
John.
Yeah, so yeah, my family roots is from Dominica, St. Lucia, but born and bred Antigua right here, Yamaban.
Yamaban. Yeah, you're born. Okay, I can say that.
All right, so we want to thank everyone for joining us on the Antigua Parish League Network, on our Facebook page, YouTube, and also we are live on Instagram, so you can reach us on all three platforms. And today we have a very interesting lineup. Already we have in studio, we have representation from the Swimming Federation, the Antigua Barbados Swimming Federation, and we're going to get into them shortly. You know, they had a couple of tours recently, and so they're going to tell us all about that and what's happening in the swimming environment in Antigua. Hopefully a little bit later, we should be getting on to Mr. Vernon Springer to get a little update on the CPL, as it's the temperature is getting hot. As another couple, maybe 48 hours, 36 hours, we should be having some live CPL action right here in Antigua. Just about maybe 10 years ago, we had that action, and so we're going to look to resume that sort of fever and that sort of excitement. And hopefully, we're going to try again and get in Mr. Ian Tittle down there in Trinidad to give us a little update on the under 19 male tournament down there that's taking place. Rising Star,
cricket, that is.
Cricket, yeah. Rising Star tournament there. And so Trinidad, Colin, has been a bit of buzz. Quite a lot of activities, football, cricket. West Indies is playing there right now. Let me just quickly go into the scorecard. South Africa, they batted first. They made 108 for 4. A little rain came down there, Colin. So the game was reduced to 13 overs. And so they had some performances from Tristan Stubbs. He made 40 from 15 deliveries, smacking 15 fours and 3 sixes. And Adam Markram contributing 20 along with Ryan Rickleton. He made 27. Bowling for the West Indies, that would have been Romario Shepherd. 2 overs, 14 runs, 2 wickets. Good to see Romario at least getting some wickets and being a little bit more tight with the bowling. And West Indies in response thus far in 2.1 overs, they're 26 for 1. So another...
Is Johnson Charles playing?
No, Jonathan Charles is out, and along with the skipper, Powell, so it's been skippered by Roston Chase. Shimran Hetmyer making, I was going to say his debut. He hasn't been playing for so long, but he's making his return to the West Indies side, and so he gets his first knock after getting no seed in the World Cup, and also so far. So it's now 32 for 1, so we'll get back to that in a short while. But Colin, we're not going to waste any time. We have the good folks from the Swimming Federation. I know they have a lot on their plate that we'd like to share with our viewers. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Colin, as we welcome our 2 guests.
Okay, and we are welcoming Edith Clashin. She is the president of the Swimming Association. That's correct, Edith?
That's correct, yes.
And her daughter, Crystal Clashin. She's not here as part of the Swimming Association, but we wanted to talk to her about her recent exploits in the free diving in Dominica. Do I have that correct, Crystal?
You do.
Okay, great. All right. Of course, we know Crystal is of Island Girl fame, or craziness, as I heard the term used recently. She having rowed the Atlantic and the Pacific with our famous Island Girls team. And Crystal, I told you once, well, I have said that I would rather play cricket batting without pads, facing the most ferocious fast bowlers than going so I'm rowing across any Atlantic or Pacific Oceans. But so kudos to you and congratulations to you and the team for that. But let's start with you, Edith, and the swimming. We have recently taken part in the Olympics. We had 2 athletes there, am I correct? And Woodville Games and Panam
Aquatics
Aquatic.
age group, yes.
Oh, okay.
So it has been a relatively busy summer. Normally we tend to chill down a little bit during the summer, but this has been an Olympic year. And so we would have had our 2 athletes in the persons of Ellie Shaw, 15-year-old Ellie Shaw, and I think it would have been about 20-year-old or 21-year-old Jaden Willier. So Jaden is at university at Texas Christian University in Texas, and Ellie is still with us. She trains locally. She goes to Antigua Girl High School. And so she would be the 2nd youngest swimmer to have attended an Olympic Games representing Antigua. Crystal, right here next to me, was our first female athlete going to the Olympics, and she was 14 at the time when she went. So she's a pioneer in many things.
Okay.
However, I would say that, we were very proud to have our 2 athletes go. They had to, it was a very black and white assessment of who could go. And basically they had to, based on their times for their best events, best races, they would have had to have scored the highest FINA points standings, or World Aquatics it's now called instead of FINA, and that's our governing body. They have points assigned to events that help to rank persons across the world. So Ellie would have been the highest FINA point holder in Antigua, and Jalen Villiers ended up with the highest FINA points. So that is how they earned the universality places to go to the Olympics.
So it's not that they met a qualifying time.
No,
as
they did
such.
not meet a qualifying time, and after they would have selected the athletes with the qualifying A times, then they select the universality athletes.
Okay.
So for Antigua, they were the ones selected, and they went. As to their performances, we were a little disappointed in the sense that they did not swim, neither of them swam at their best times. And so from that perspective, it was a little disappointing for us. And I think that the realization would have come to them in terms of what are some of the, they'll have to start examining what were some of the issues that caused them not to swim closer to their best times. Sometimes you don't hit your best time, sometimes you surpass it. But I think that we were looking for times that would have been a little closer to their best times. So we have our own theories, but at the end of the day, it is for the athletes to come to the realization of what it is that they need to now do.
So they haven't expressed.
We have spoken. Not both of them. Jalen is back in the States, as far as I know. Ellie is back with us, and just her performance from the this last recent meet at the Pan Aquatics, she did way better.
Okay.
And so I think between then and now, something else must have clicked for her.
Okay.
And so, the thing is that people say, well, why send them to the Olympics? It is an important thing to do, not just for representation's sake, but can I tell you, from the time Crystal would have attended to all the athletes that would have come after her, we have gone up with better times. Our ranking has improved. So it is a continuum of development and exposures, even though it's not the same swimmer being exposed every single time, but there is a
maybe the experience they gain, they can pass on to other athletes.
It is passed on, but there is a continuum of achievement. They want to do better than the last swimmer would have. We want in all of the preparation that is taking place, they're competing against their peers to see who can be the best one. When it was Crystal's time, there weren't too many in the pool to compete with her for that position. So they are competing within a particular small island pool, and they are straining to get to various events that will help them to qualify for these games. And it is in doing that, it is really the journey that is important rather than the actual event per se. Yes, it culminates in the biggest arena that we would have for such a sport, but it is the journey that also becomes important in terms of their development. So I just say all of that to say that we were proud of them representing us. A little disappointed that they didn't do their best, but at the same time, we know that they still have youth in their favor, and that they will continue to strive and improve themselves. And I think that they would have learned some lessons along the way.
Could it have been the occasion?
Absolutely, but that's what I'm saying. They have to
crowds
self-evaluate.
and,
I mean, that's an intimidating arena. There's no if and but about it. And so, there's so many things that could have been affecting them. And the more they are exposed, is the better that they're going to perform eventually.
Okay.
That's my view.
Okay, fair enough. I can only imagine what it's like performing in a big stadium, so to speak, and crowd and that kind of thing. So overcoming that in itself is the first hurdle to go over. After the Olympics now, tell us about the Goodwill.
Okay, so
Games.
the Goodwill, we call it Goodwill Games. It's the Goodwill Swimming Championships. It's a event that was created by a handful of islands, which would have been, I can't remember how many years they're doing it now, but it's quite a few years. But Trinidad, Guyana, I think Barbados, I think Bahamas came into it by invitation, but they have been at it for a while now, and I think Suriname. these were the islands that started it. Then eventually each host is able to invite another country in. So it's growing, right? And
So it's something among Caribbean.
it's among the Caribbean
Caribbean
islands, and
islands.
it is a developmental meet. What happens is that during the swim season, a lot of the children are trying to qualify for Carifta, and many of them don't. And so this event was created as a developmental meet for those persons who did not qualify. And it is
Okay.
they
Did not
in other
qualify
words,
for the
if you
Carifta.
qualify for Carifta, you're not eligible for this meet.
Okay.
Okay? So the whole idea of it is to help boost their performance and help them get a little closer to getting ready for Carifta or to getting qualified for Carifta. So it's very much a developmental meet. Carifta starts at age 11, 12. Goodwill allows 8 and under swimmers
Oh,
up
very
to
young.
the 15 to 17 age group. Carifta also goes up to 15, 17, but they start from 11, 12. So you could have had good emerging swimmers, young swimmers, attending the Goodwill Championships, and those that would have not as yet made the age for qualifying for Carifta. And so there was good swimming. They had to push themselves. And we only had a small team this year, but we're hoping that in the next round that we'll be able to field some more swimmers. The maximum team size is 40, and we only sent 8 swimmers this time round. So we thought that they did very well. The camaraderie, the behavior, everything. The reports is that they were on point.
Okay.
And we had our most outstanding swimmer was our 8 and under female, in the person of Isabel Nicholas, and she was the age group champion in her age group.
okay.
She won out of her 6 events. She won 5 golds,
Wow.
and she came 4th in the other event.
Okay.
I think, which would have been the 50 back. So
And-
she got gold in all of her events.
Okay, and these were held where?
This meet was hosted by St. Lucia
St. Lucia,
this year.
mhm.
Last year, I think it was hosted by Trinidad, and next year it's apparently going to be hosted by the Bahamas.
Okay.
And the Bahamas have been winning for the last couple of years, as they have done so for Carifta.
And Edith, when will Antigua host? But you don't have to answer that one right now. But I just want to ask one question there, Colin. You spoke about those athletes that did not qualify for Carifta, that meet is there to help boost them. Does their performance there, if they performed credibly, does that make them eligible for Carifta? Does anything?
Not necessarily. Number one, to be eligible for Carifta. So, for example, our 8 and under, who did really well, she won't be eligible for Carifta until she gets to age 11, where she can swim in the 11, 12 age group. Those who we would have seen time improvements for many of them, but that doesn't guarantee their selection for Carifta next time round, even if they are 11, 12 already. Carifta, we have established standards for Carifta, and so we use the American age group standards, and those standards have to be met. So if you don't make what we call 2 A times, then you're not eligible to be selected for sorry, not A times, double A times. They have B, double B, A, double A, triple A,
Wow.
quadruple A, right? So if you're not making 2 double A's, you will not be eligible for Carifta. That is how we do it. So they know it. They know in advance. It's nothing, no big surprise. So they have these goals ahead of them that they need to keep. Going to a Goodwill Games, they push themselves because they're swimming against others similar to them, some a little better than them, and they push themselves to do what we look for basically is, are you improving your times? Are you getting personal best? Right? You mightn't get personal best 100%, but we want to see that you get a few. And we were seeing that with our swimmers, so we know that coming off the end of their training cycle, that they at least were showing some positive results.
I have to ask here, these islands that are hosting these games or these meets, what facilities do they have?
Okay, so it's varying. The Goodwill Championships, for example, can be hosted in either what we call a long course pool or a short course pool. The long course pool is the Olympic size pool, which is 50 meters. Or it can be a short course pool, which is what St. Lucia has, and that's a 25-meter pool. So depending on what you have, you are allowed to host accordingly. St. Lucia doesn't as yet have a long course pool, they just have a short course pool. They are currently building their aquatic facility, they say. I saw digging the last time I was there. Places like Bahamas and Trinidad and Tobago, they have long course pools, absolutely. They're big hosts of some of our higher meets, like Carifta, the CC Can Championships. They have even, as you know, Trinidad would have hosted the Junior Commonwealth Games last year. And so you cannot host an international meet without having an Olympic size pool. It's as simple as that.
Barbados has a
Barbados has one, yes.
a fifth long course.
Yes. But again, to host certain meets, it's not just having a 50-meter pool. There are other things that go with it that will make it that you have to satisfy the organizers of these events, that you can host properly, because remember, a lot of these events are multi-sport in the sense for aquatics. It's not just swimming. You have artistic swimming, you have diving, you have water polo, and you must have facilities to be able to host some of these championships. So it's a broader thing. Yeah.
Now that you brought up the issue of facilities from an association standpoint, well, first of all, let me ask, are you aware what takes place in these other countries? Let's say St. Lucia, which we may more be able to mirror in terms of size. Is it a government, how should I say, fueled development in terms of their facilities, or is it through the association? Do you have any idea?
It is it's like a partnership, I would say, because the Swimming Federation over in St. Lucia is very much involved in the process. However, they can't do it alone, and what they're building, they fortunately have a government at the moment that is supportive of them getting this done. However, it has been many years in the making. They have tried to host based on the fact that they know that they had approval to have this pool, and they kept coming to Carifta and bidding for hosting, and not even a piece of soil had been turned. And at least on 2 occasions, they have had to drop out of the bidding race simply because they weren't ready. They were not even nearly ready. They were trying to do it again at our last Carifta, which was hosted in Barbados. And yes, when we were at OECS in November, they took us to see the site and to see where they started clearing the land and that sort of thing. But we point blank refused to have them bid for hosting, and nothing, they're only at the very beginning. So I'm just saying to you that it has been a long process for St. Lucia. They claimed that they had, about 2 years ago, they claimed that they had everything in containers landed in St. Lucia. Well, 2 years in containers, and they're only now beginning. I'm just saying to you that it is not as easy as persons would like to think. There's a lot that goes into making sure that what you're putting down, if you intend to be able to host international events, regional and international events, there's a lot that goes into it. And of course, at the end of the day, it's a lot of money. When I ask them how much are they spending on this aquatic center, I think that our government would have
Well, I'm going to lead you. That's where I'm going to lead you right now, because you spoke of all this St. Lucia. I have heard over the years, if I'm not mistaken, going all the way back to 2000 and something, we were supposed to get some kind of pool set up.
Yes, when we came back, when we won the OECS championship for the first time, we were greeted at the airport by the minister, who jubilantly announced that they had almost almost ready to
a container
start.
Was there too? They had a container
not so
too?
much a container, but they had seemed, the announcement seemed as if they had advanced a plan for us to have a pool facility.
When was that? When
That was in 2022, I think it would have been, when we came in November 2022. At the time, it was a different executive in place.
Okay.
I do believe that they would have had some discussion with the old executive, but not, I mean, we were given basically 6 hours to say whether we wanted a long course pool or a short course pool. That is in terms of the stakeholders of the federation. And then they had the groundbreaking the following year, just before
I remember
the elections.
something like that. Yeah.
And of course, they had up the picture of what they would have drawn. But to be honest with you, since becoming president and meeting with, you know, the government side of things, it was basically a picture. The architect came up with a lovely picture, and it really had, there were no detailed plans as such. And even so, when we looked at it, there were a lot of things that were not right with it that needed to be changed. Since then, we have been in touch with an international company that deals through our continental organization, which is called Panama Aquatics. And they put us in touch with one of their partners, Floridra, and we had been having discussions with them. However, you know, when the rubber hits the road, there's money involved, and when we met with the minister, the way forward that they had suggested, they did not think that they should spend that money that way in terms of getting the preliminary assessments done.
Right.
So we have kind of come to a little bit of a stalemate. So our federation, we feel that if we're going to get the kind of facility that we want, that we at least need to explore giving them an opportunity to provide this study. And so it has a price tag, and the only issue that we have had is that we have had, it's not like we have endless money, because the government is saying they don't want to spend this money. So we have had back-to-back events for the year, and we have to pay money up front.
That's draining your resources.
Which takes our resources, and we don't get the money back immediately. A lot of the parents bear the brunt of some of this, but the federation itself also has to spend a good portion. But we sometimes have to upfront money, and then it trickles back in, whether it is from parents or from the government or whatever. And so there has been a little bit of a cash flow. You know, we have had to balance the cash flow, so we have not been able to release those funds as yet to get them started on getting the project done.
We're going to go to a break now. Colin, I see you want to jump in quickly.
Well, I just wanted to clarify, what are we looking at, a 50-meter pool?
We originally, when we were asked the question, we said, okay, we would like, we had set up 25 first, and then when we have changed things, I said, you know, if we don't ask for 50, then we will never get it.
Right.
So let us ask for the 50, and if it is outside of
The scope.
all of our scope of resources, then we scale back to the 25. So we would like to shoot for the 50, because we know that if we get such a facility, there's a lot we can do with it. It's also a lot to manage, because it's not cheap to run a 50-meter pool. And we have gotten feedback from Barbados that runs a 50-meter pool. We've even gotten feedback from St. Lucia with their 25-meter 10-lane pool facility, which is lovely, and it costs quite a bit to run. So I mean, all of these are factors we will have to take into consideration.
All right, we're going to go to a short break, and when we come back, Colin, let's bring in Crystal a bit, and then we can go back, because I want us to touch a little bit more on these facilities, because we always glow about our athletes, but if we don't give them the right, environment, then nothing much can happen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go on a break. We'll be right back with Talking. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talking Sports and having a very informative, very interesting discussion here with the Swimming Federation. Ms. Clashin giving us a little rundown on the Olympics and the whole swimming in terms of the Goodwill Games, the Carift, and all the other activities there. And we ended up looking at the facility issue. I would really like to get into that a little more, but I guess we're going to have to get back to that. But we just wanted to let our callers, our viewers know you could reach us at 776-2866. Or if you have any comments, you could always send them in, and we can share with our guests, and if they can answer or share any light on that. So, Colin, yeah, I'm going to just change a bit. Let's just get into Crystal and her where she's going and what she's doing.
Okay, Crystal, welcome again. Tell us about this free diving that you just took part in Dominica, because I don't think it's a well-known sporting event among us here.
No, it's a very niche sport worldwide. Very niche. It's growing in interest, but free diving is essentially going down as deep as you can under the water with one breath.
Okay.
That's without tanks, without any additional air. You go up and down on one breath with the same level of weight going up and down. That's external weight. Yes.
Weight. So you
Yes, you're weighted.
You're weighted.
Just because the body can be quite buoyant, and so to be able to go down, like I use 6 pounds with my wetsuit. My wetsuit adds extra buoyancy, so I need about 6 pounds to go down the kind of get that kind of buoyancy.
But Crystal,
neutral
let me ask you
buoyancy.
quick. So if I'm 300 pounds, I'll do better than you because I'm gonna go. That's how it goes.
Not necessarily. Are you 300 pounds in fat or 300 pounds in muscle?
Oh, well, 300 pounds in weight, so I'm going to have a greater plunge.
If you are at 300 pounds mostly muscle, you'll have a better chance of going down deeper, true. If you're 300 pounds of mostly fat, you will just float mostly. So you need more weight to bring you down.
Okay.
So someone can be at an advantage depending on their shape, their physical form.
Yes, well, like most sports, the physicality and your body profile has certain advantages. So one of them is if you're very flexible, that's an advantage.
Okay.
Because as you go in, there are 4 disciplines in freediving, competitive freediving. There's called the free immersion, where you pull down a rope. There's the monofin, where you use like a mermaid-like tail fin, right? And you're doing like what's called a butterfly stroke that's similar to swimming, swimming butterfly stroke. You have a no fins, which is similar to breaststroke in swimming.
Okay.
And then you have the bifins, which is similar to freestyle kicking in swimming. So it's very similar to the swimming styles and mimics in freediving. But as you move down at depth, the body, the air pockets in your body start to compress because the pressure is decreasing those air pockets. And so the more flexible you are, the more able you are to not be injured as well as you go further down, where little movements make a difference to the whole body safety.
Let me just back up a bit, because I have to confess that I am this is the first time for me hearing about this, even seeing it. And what we've seen of you is just like still pictures. Okay?
Yes.
How is the event conducted? I mean, you dash off.
Okay.
Colin, you know what I thought free diving was? You go on a rock and you just jump into the water.
Okay, so that is cliff diving.
Okay.
So there's a difference. So there's cliff diving and then there's free diving. So free diving is from the surface of the water going down. Cliff diving is from a high peak and you go into the water. And that points about execution into the water nicely. Okay, so to answer your question about how a free dive competition is constructed.
Yeah.
So the one that I went to is similar to many others, where it's a week of diving. So you have 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on.
Okay.
And every day you're allowed to do only 1 dive per day. The night before you submit in a form what depth you want to do and in what discipline and in how long you think you'll take to do that depth. and then you try to execute that depth that next day during your dive day, and that in that discipline.
Okay.
So, for example, when my first day, I did 31 meters, which is 28 meters in the no fins discipline, and that was a comfortable depth for me that I knew I could do, even if I have nerves with the first day of competition, which makes you a little bit more tense, a little bit more distracted, because you have to be really, really relaxed to do well in free diving. So a little bit of nerves, you compensate for that by going slightly shallower at the first day. At least that was my strategy. And then each day I would increase it. You can only go up maximum of 3 meter increases at a time each day. So I would increase every day I dived. I went a little bit deeper to get to my absolute target.
So you spoke about the different disciplines.
Yes.
So is it that I'm diving? What stroke do I use to?
Yes.
Or do I just sink?
No, it's the stroke, if you want, let's call it the stroke, contributes to the speed and depth at which you can dive. So if you go with no fins, it literally means you have no fins on, and you do a breaststroke stroke, and that's the one you can, breaststroke kick, and a pull-out, as if like what they call a pull-out in swimming, or breaststroke. That one is the most physically intensive, because you're using all of your body, and you're not assisted with fins to get you down faster. So it's you go, generally that's the shorter depth you can go, and also it's the most intense because it's so physically demanding. But then you have the monofin, for example, which gives you a lot of power doing that dolphin kick, and you can go quite deep with that because you have a lot of power with you going up and down. Monofin. Like one fin. So instead of having, so most fins you see are bifins. So you have one fin per foot. The monofin, you have a foot pocket that you put both your feet into, and it's like a big.
I look like a mermaid.
You look like a mermaid. You look like a mermaid. It's just a huge fin that generates a lot of power.
Okay. So what? Tell us what you achieved, your depth and.
Yes. So I focused on 2 disciplines at this competition, the no fins and the monofin discipline, which is also called constant weight. The no fins, my deepest was 31 meters, which is a personal best for me. And the monofin, my deepest was 40 meters, which is also hitting my personal best, definitely for the last 2 seasons of the diving. That was my personal best.
There tests, physical tests, medical doctors that you must go through before you are allowed to participate?
To a degree, yes. You have to get medical clearance. So I had to get medical clearance before I left. You have to have dive insurance, which I have as well. And you have to be, if you're training on the platform, so you're on a floating platform that has a rope that's weighted at the bottom, and you have at the bottom of the weight, you have these Velcro tags that you have to pick up at the end of the bottom of the line to show that you've actually achieved that depth. But to do the training, you also have to be a certified diver as well. Not necessarily certified to teach, but certified to dive safely. And so that's one of the things you have to do. So, and that comes with its own vast list of requirements that you do in a training course. So if anybody's familiar with scuba diving, there's certificate. You can't just go up and just scuba dive. You're not allowed to do that. If you're doing that, you're doing it very dangerously, right? With like similar to scuba diving, you have to get certifications to teach you how to dive and dive safely in respect to the sport and the limits. And you do this similarly with free diving.
Okay. So tell us about your training now. How you how you got into it, your training routines, and the effect that it has on you, your body, your head, and pressure.
Yes,
and so forth.
I got into this back in 2019 after coming back from the first row doing the Atlantic. I really chose to focus on free diving because I was writing a piece about free diving, because at the time I was a travel writer, and someone approached me for writing a TV show, a web series about something, and I said, we cover scuba diving all the time, and why not free diving, which I had known about vaguely.
Okay.
So but to be able to write something, you need to know about it.
Experience.
So I took myself to Dominica, which has one of the best freediving competitions in the Caribbean.
Okay.
And so they have a diving school over there. They now have two. At the time, they had one. I did a course for a week, a training camp for a week, and did not like it, free diving.
You did not like it?
I really struggled with it. I was like, what craziness is this?
But
then later that summer, I met up with who is the person who's now my dive buddy, because you're not allowed to also free dive alone. You always have to dive with somebody else who's a certified diver or at a similar level or better than you. And he had been trained as well by the same people that I was trained by. So he and I started diving in Antigua off the Pillars of Hercules in English Harbor. Yeah. When you stand up paddles and paddle out, and then just kind of anchor there and set up. And in diving with him, it became a very relaxing and therapeutic activity, because it's very meditative. You have to be really, really relaxed to do well in free diving. And the minute that I found that I could go without a mask and use a nose clip instead to go deeper, that changed a lot for me, because I felt very much more connected to the water. I didn't have this barrier on my face. I could just feel the water, and it was really, really nice. And so since then, I've wanted to do a competition, and then COVID came, which made that difficult. And then I went off to study, which also made that difficult. And now I'm back, and the competitions are coming hot and fast in Dominica. There are 3 competitions at least a year in Dominica.
And
sorry?
Are these competitions, or the most recent one, well attended from
They are
how far
internationally.
afield?
So this one that I attended, they had there were several world record attempts, because we had world record holders there. There are national records from all over Europe, New Zealand, the Central and South America. So everywhere in the world, you had people represented. There were about 34 athletes there and representing from all across the world.
This is not an Olympic event, is it?
Well, it isn't now, but back in 1904 it was.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes, it was. But it was deemed at the time too dangerous, because especially the way they did it at the time, it was definitely how they did it. It was a bit dangerous. So it hasn't been an Olympic sport since that time. Will it ever be? I know there's a lobby to have it included, but I still don't know if that would happen. But I know there's a push from some freedivers to have it as an Olympic sport.
Yeah, if they can have break dancing and all.
Exactly.
John, any concern?
Well, yeah, just very interesting for me. I never really even understood the sport. As I said, I just thought I'd just go on a rock and just jump over. I was free diving, but very interesting. So what is your, what should I ask? What is your goal now? What is your ambition in terms of this sport? Where do you intend? What's the climax for you for this?
So getting this first competition was really important for me. First of all, this has been years in making, and it's also very expensive. I give you an idea. Just the competition fees alone is $800 US. Just for the competition fee, and you generally have to be there training a month in advance. And let's say the platform fees are now.
Sorry, not to cut you. When you said you have to, so the competition in Dominica, you have to be in Dominica a month in advance.
Any place that you're going to compete at a depth, it's recommended that you're there. A month in advance is generally good to get used to the conditions, because each place is different and their setup is a little bit different. Some people came in as late, maybe as 2 weeks before, but majority of people were there a month before. And so you think about living costs, transportation costs, food. It just adds up very, very quickly, and you're not necessarily working. You only have to have a remote job if it works that way, right? So it's expensive. So my next goal right now, I'm actually working with one of the dive schools in Dominica to see if we can bring over, have a short course in Antigua to certify a few other divers, or a few divers locally, and some of the yachties as well that come in during the season.
Okay.
So that for me is one of my next goals, is to see if we can get a few more divers interested and diving, because we need a community to dive. As I said, you can't dive alone. And
Yeah,
so
you did say that.
Yes. So that's really important. Personally, I would like to do a few pool competitions, because they have pool ones as well.
Pool.
Yes, so you go for distance, how many laps, how far along the pool can you go for. Same
Okay.
disciplines,
Uh-huh.
but it's more about distance covered more than depth covered. So
Okay.
they don't have the pressure to deal with in terms of the pressure, the physical water pressure and atmospheric pressure, but more just how long can you hold your breath for as you go up and down the pool.
See what distance you can achieve.
Yeah,
in
so I'd
that
like to
one.
see how that goes, and if I can get to another depth competition within the next year and a half, that'd be great. As I said, they are expensive to attend, but I want to keep training and see if I can move my depths another. I don't really want to do another competition until I feel I can do another 7 to 10 meters deeper than I am right now, because at that point I'll be more in the fray of being a little bit more competitive. At
Okay.
least with people in this region.
All right, fair enough. Well, that's quite a lot there, Crystal, and I just have to just wish you all the best with that sport, and look and get your reports and all of your achievement. But Edith, I just wanted to just cross over again now, because you spoke again about money. We finished that conversation. And I think we ended the conversation by you saying you had put a suggestion on the board, in some, like we have an education levy, we could have a sports levy, something. But I really think we have to look at it serious, because we come here on these sports shows, whichever platform, and we speak about our athletes, them not reaching to the pinnacle that we expect them to reach, but we don't give them the nutrient. And when I say the nutrient, the environment, the facilities. And we have to find that creative way to get these facilities. I don't know how, but I am for one who believe there should be some level of taxation somewhere. If it's a 5%, somebody has to pay something. Any investor come in, just as they leave 200,000 for CIP, leave a 50,000 for sports.
Our imaginations, we are limited by our imaginations, and our imaginations can be active, and it's for us to put our heads together to come up with what is a palatable solution. There is the political side of things. There's also the social side of things. There is the need to, we are talking about the increase of violence in our societies, and sports is a very good answer to curbing some of this.
As a vehicle.
I think one of the things that I learned with my own children is to keep them busy. Okay, and when you keep them busy, you keep them out of trouble. When they don't have too much free time to be idle, then they become more productive, they become more disciplined and everything. So I have found that sports, not just with my own children, but with the programs that I run, is very, very good in helping to shape character, helping to shape persons to become better people and to be good citizens and all of that, and eventually to be good in the workforce, because sports requires discipline. If you run a proper program, it requires discipline, it requires planning, it requires you to have time management, it requires you to remain healthy. So you don't get sports people, athletes wanting to be smoking, to be imbibing. Yes, some of them do drink a little bit, but I mean, you find that they tend to be more moderate.
It's controlled.
They tend to want to continue keeping fit even after they may have left the sport. And another thing that we need to encourage is masters. It's not just for young people. We need to grow our sporting, whereby you have our older persons continuing actively to compete and to take part in their respective sports. So I think that sports is a big answer. Sports and culture and cultural activities, the music, the drama, the theater, all of these other things that are not necessarily purely academic, I think that these are things that we need to promote to help curb some of these things. And as you said, everything costs money, and so we need to find the monies to do these things. And yes, you're not going to be able to spread ourselves thin, but maybe we identify the sports that we are going to be good at, and throw the money behind that. Not that you're not going to give any of the other sports that either, but look at our resources. One of the things that, for example, I think that we should be doing better at is beach volleyball. I mean, we have the sand, we have so many beaches and flat areas. We should be having better beach volleyball. I looked at the archery during the Olympics, and I was quite impressed. But those bows and arrows or whatever they use look pretty expensive. That doesn't look like it's a cheap sport either.
Yes.
But I'm just saying that we can look around and see what are some of the sports that we have natural resources for, and try and promote those sports, and find the financing, not just expecting government to take it out of their annual budget and allocate, but to find a income flow to be able to support all of the different disciplines that we are looking at.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, Edith, because just as I was coming out of my vehicle to come up here, I did hear a little clip with the director of education, and one of the things he said they were mulling to try and address this youth violence and gang violence is extending the school hours. And then he was quick to say it's not about extending it academically, but if we having the children there, we'll have them more engaged. It could be through culture, through whatever discipline, maybe for another couple of hours, to keep sports, to keep them occupied, as you said. And so it's a very valid point that you raise, and I really think we need to, as a country, we need to come together, all stakeholders, just filter out the politics and just really look at the avenues where we can really make that, not that highfalutin, but that direct contact with the youngsters, understand what they're feeling, and really try and see how best we could work with them. Because if we don't, it looks like another lost generation or two that we're looking at.
Just to mention some of our activities, we teach swimming, right? And this summer we have been involved with, actually tomorrow is our last day. We are working with Adopt a Coastline. They have sponsored a girls' home out in Erlings. And we have been doing work with them, teaching them to swim. It's a group of 9 girls, and they range in age from 10 to 17, thereabout. And we have been teaching them for a couple of days, some of them had some raw material, but we've been able to help them to improve what they're doing. And besides it being a physical and enjoyable activity, what they're going to be using it for with Adopt a Coastline is to help to keep that coastline free of debris and garbage and that sort of thing. So we are trying to give them additional skills so that they can use a snorkel and possibly dive and pick up things from off the sea floor, not too far out, right? But just to be able to help to clean up the environment. So these are all good initiatives. We've been happy to be involved in it, and to we just need to have more of that sort of thing being done, where you can engage some. You would consider young ladies that would have had to have been in such a home, persons that you would not necessarily been paying attention to. But it's not that they're not bright. It's not that many of them are in good schools and doing relatively well, but they sort of fall aside because they're not under our purview in the natural course of things. And one has to ensure that you support children like that. So
Edith, we're looking to wrap up shortly. I think there's 2 teams that went away. One went to the development meet, and there's another.
Yeah, the more advanced meet was our subcontinental organization, the Pan Am Aquatics. They are responsible for aquatics in the Americas, and they hosted an age group championship in Puerto Rico, which is the group that just came back like literally a night ago, right? And we were so pleased with their results. We got 15 medals, 12 of them individual, 3 of them relay. We had, in terms of the improvement of our children, we had actually 2 teams there. We had the national team, and we had a team of 2 that went on the club, because you could have participated either as club or as a national team.
Okay.
So in total, we would have had 10 swimmers there. And altogether, they would have had 39 personal bests in terms of their individual efforts, right? So from the national team, we had 29. From the 2 individuals, they had 10. So these are just moving, they're getting better in what they're doing. 39. I think that's impressive.
That's awesome.
We had 5 national records. Tivon Benjamin, he got 2 of them. He beat in the 50 fly, Stefano Mitchell's last time. Stefano Mitchell would have gone to the Olympics, not this year, but the prior one.
Prior one, yes.
So he beat his national record in the 50 fly, and he also made a national record in the 100 back, beating Norm Askell-Gums' time, which would have been done a couple of years ago. Ellie Shaw, she beat her own 100 breast time, and so her new national record she established, which is what we were hoping to see closer at the Olympics. It would have been, that was the stage on which to get it done. But nonetheless, she's showing us that she is capable, and that she can do better. And then we also had Angelique Liddy. She broke the record on the 50 free held by Samantha Roberts since 2018. And Samantha was one of our Olympians as well. In fact, she went to the Olympics twice.
Oh, okay.
The Rio, and I think the one after that, which would have been Tokyo.
Tokyo.
Right? So Angelique Liddy, she beat her national record time, and when they did the relay, they had a nail-biting relay, the 4x50 free relay. They came 3rd in, and she even, it's not official because of the position in which she swam, but that time for her was even better than the national record time that she made on her individual event. Wow. So, when you do a relay, you don't want to let your team down.
Right.
And so you really push yourself.
Right.
And we were like in 6th place out of, say, 8 teams, right? And Tivon was the anchor. And you didn't want to see how he rocketed down, and everybody was yelling and screaming, right? I mean, you're talking about the whole place coming alive to see them coming from behind, and then coming and touching on 3rd place. And the 3rd place touch, all the times were very close. The 1st, 2nd, and 3rd were very close to each other. So, it was a tremendous effort.
Achievement.
And his time on that swim as well was fantastic. Right? It cannot be counted as official, but it was faster than his best time. It became a new best time for him in a sense, but it's just that we can't use it officially.
Obviously, right.
So I'm just saying that, we are very pleased with what they did, and it augurs well for the next set of events that are going to be coming up. We still have a little bit to do before the end of the year. We have the OECS coming up in November. It's going to be hosted in St. Vincent. We have our own Open Water Nationals that we'll be hosting in November as well. Then in December, we should be selecting a couple of swimmers to be going to the FINA, what we call Short Course Worlds. It's going to be happening in a 25-meter pool, and this is going to be in Budapest. So, we still have a little bit on the agenda before we close out the year.
Well, Edith, Crystal, obviously, it looks like you've booked yourself another spot on this show, because there's so much we
so
need
much
to...
more that could be spoken about.
And, definitely, Crystal, we'll be following you a little more in your achievements at the free diving and see what you accomplish. And we just want to thank you. Anything from you, Crystal?
Yes. So we spoke about finances a bit earlier. I just wanted to say thank you, because I ran a crowdfunding campaign to be able to afford going to Dominica for this competition, and the responses were incredible. And so I had 2 corporate sponsors come on board right at the beginning and right at the end. So I had Budget Marine starting me off, and then coming at the end was the Citizenship by Investment Unit. And all between that, I had lots of individual donations from persons, families, people who want to stay anonymous, people who were publicly acknowledged, but every contribution helped. And so I'm very grateful. So I'm saying thank you.
Okay, great. And certainly we wish you further success in
Thank
that
you.
event in the future. And to the Swimming Association as well. The meet's coming up. Looking forward to bigger,
Thank you.
better things.
And we also have our fundraisers that need to conclude, and we have our Bubbles Fete, which we normally host to help us to finance the OECS swim, being able to attend the OECS swimming. That's going to be coming up in October. And we also have a car raffle that we have launched. We are raffling a Toyota Raise, right? So we have tickets selling, and the summer has been, we depend on our volunteers, our parents, everybody. And because summer is a time when everybody's moving in and out, we were not able to roll out the plan for, being at the supermarkets and having so we're going to have to step it up and get that in place as soon as possible.
And if you're looking to go to Budapest,
well,
that's going to take
it's
a
not
pretty
for,
penny.
No, that money is not for Budapest. No. That money is not for Budapest. When it comes to Budapest, World Aquatics will sponsor 2 athletes. And I think a coach or something like that, or an official. 2 athletes and an official. We don't get the money up front though. We get the money after we have attended. And if we don't attend, we don't get the money. So that is where you talk about money having to be found up front.
On that note, ladies, we really got to cut it here. It was really quite enlightening, very interesting, and again, we just want to wish the Swimming Association and you also, Crystal, all the best in your endeavors. And we want to stay in touch. We can keep update with what's happening, especially in the swimming category. So thanks a lot, ladies.
Thank you very much for having us.
All right, guys, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, hopefully we should be speaking a little cricket, hopefully with CPL and also some under-19 cricket out of Trinidad.
Jingle your keys and get in gear with a car loan from ACB. Drive away with a loan that fits you. Get up to 100% financing and 10 years to repay on a new or used car. Plus, get a pre-approved credit card. So rev up and get in gear with the Simply Smarter car loan. Call or visit us or go to acbonline.com for more.
ACB Caribbean. Simply smarter banking.
Jingle your keys and get in gear with a car loan from ACB. Drive away with a loan that fits you. Get up to 100% financing and 10 years to repay on a new or used car. Plus, get a pre-approved credit card. So rev up and get in gear with the Simply Smarter car loan. Call or visit us or go to acbonline.com for more.
ACB Caribbean. Simply smarter banking.
Jingle your keys and get in gear with a car loan from ACB. Drive away with a loan that fits you. Get up to 100% financing and 10 years to repay on a new or used car. Plus, get a pre-approved credit card. So rev up and get in gear with the Simply Smarter car loan. Call or visit us or go to acbonline.com for more.
ACB Caribbean, simply smarter banking.
Jingle your keys and get in gear with a car loan from ACB. Drive away with a loan that fits you. Get up to 100% finance.
Okay, we're going live now, Springer. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Talking Sports. I'm your host, JB, along with Colin, and we just touched with the Swimming Federation. Colin, that was a very interesting little segment there.
Yes, we needed another hour to speak to them. It's so much going on in swimming and behind the scenes that we don't know about, and it's just speaks to the fact that we really have to pay more attention to these sports because those athletes are doing well with very little. Well, I shouldn't say very little help, but with more help and assistance from government and the public. Imagine what we could achieve. But certainly, that was a very good conversation we had there with the president of the Swimming Association.
All right, Colin, the hot button topic in Antigua now is CPL.
Yes.
And we have the Antigua Falcons making their, inaugural, I would say, representation in the CPL. We had the Antigua Hawks bill. We had the Antigua Hawks bill a couple of years back. And so we're trying to get Mr. Vernon Springer online. Mr. Springer, are you hearing us? Mr. Springer? Oh, boy.
Hello?
Are you hearing us, Mr. Springer?
Okay.
Hello?
Having a little difficulty there. We can hear him, but he isn't hearing us.
Okay, apparently Mr. Springer is not hearing us. Well, Colin, while they try to get Mr. Springer, are you hearing us?
Okay, no, he doesn't seem to be hearing us, but we are eagerly anticipating the first match on Thursday.
You're hearing us now, Mr. Springer?
Yeah, I'm hearing you guys, yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, we were just speaking about the excitement and the buzz that's taking place all around Antigua with CPL cricket returning back to Antigua and the Antigua Falcons. And we've seen all of the marketing and everything taking place. Just give us a quick update as to what's in place, what's happening, what the fans can expect in terms of Thursday coming with our first matchup here, right here in Antigua.
Well, let me just thank you guys and thank your media, all the media houses for giving us invaluable support so far for the return of the Republic Bank Caribbean Premier League, which is returning back to Antigua and Barbuda in 10 years. Mm-hmm. So this is a real big occasion time here. It's something that the population has been yearning for. And sometimes you yearn for things and then you just still operate the same way you operated 10 years ago. Things have changed dramatically, whether we like it or not. That sports has become a billion-dollar industry, and the investment even of a franchise is massive. Mm-hmm. So compared to what happened 10 years ago, CPL has evolved, sport has evolved. And so our main trust here to the fans of Antigua and Barbuda is to be able to fill the stadium, and not only fill the stadium, but buy our limited edition of replica jerseys. That's something that we've been striving on, to be able to make sure that we get the folks to go on out and buy the replica jerseys. A lot of times, John Baptist and your colleague, a lot of people buy Manchester United jerseys, Real Madrid jerseys, Manchester City jerseys, and we're trying to create a brand here by saying, listen, you want to say return of the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons, you want to see a CPL franchise, make sure that you purchase the replica jerseys, because that helps to pay some of the bills in terms of what you see here. This is almost like a $1 million industry, even just to put on as simple as this event operates. And so you have to get sponsors. Antigua and Barbuda Falcons came at a very difficult time, because it came at a time when you had SITS conference, you had the World Cup, you had Carnival, and then straight now into the CPL. So the product, what we're selling, is important for the fans to turn out. And it's also important so that the senior citizens who are home, once the stadium is filled, they'll be able to get an opportunity to see the game. So there's a lot of benefits. And you also got to understand into consideration too that some of the local boys, the Kofi James, the emerging and the youngest player in the CPL, 17-year-old Joel Andrew, Kelvin Pittman, who's fast emerging, and Kofi James. Those are the 4 local players matched up with someone like Jamal Hamilton, Teddy Bishop, young player, West Indies under-19 player. You got Joshua James, another emerging all-arounder. You have Justin Graves, you know. So all these are just some of the local players from around the Caribbean who make up the franchise. So it's important that the fans turn out and we can feel the vibes. We've done a number of stuff. And one of the things, John Baptist, that I like to explain to people, because everybody's saying, oh, well, I ain't see this and I ain't see that and that. We really couldn't do anything, John Baptist, during the World Cup, because it would have been considered to be ambush marketing. But we were quiet about what we were doing, just alerting people and for people to go and support the West Indies team. So unlike ICC, who have a lot of money, where they can, you know, flash things all over the place, we had to come in a very delicate situation and be strategic in terms of how we spent some of the marketing kind. So we couldn't just brand the whole of Antigua and Barbuda. So what we did is that we went to the people. Last Friday, we went into town. And, you know, we had a celebration, took the players out so that they could meet the fans. We interacted with some of the Guyanese fans who live here in Antigua and Barbuda. Good interaction. Moved around into some of the communities. So we want to go to the people. This is the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons team. This is your team. This is not John Baptist's team. This is not Vernon Springer. It is not Kuma Rodney team. This is Antigua and Barbuda Falcons, and that's why we want the people to embrace and understand. We know it's not going to be easy for this season here, but we got a good squad, and trust me, in T20, anything happens.
And that's so true, Mr. Springer, and I do believe that Antiguans, I think we were hungry, and I think we will come out, and I hope we do come out and do support. But let me ask a question. You speak about the fans coming out. Is there any incentives in terms of, like, I know sometimes you try and get the school children to come out, and if the school children come out, the parents are going to come out. Is there any incentive for the school children in terms of maybe some reduced ticket, free tickets? I don't know. Do you have anything like that in place?
Well, what I can say to you is that the Sunday, the 1st of September, the first 150 boys or girls that come to the stadium for that morning game against Joaquin Cornwall and the Barbados Royals will receive a backpack, Antigua and Barbuda Falcons school bag with items in it. Yes. So that's really one of the first incentives in terms of driving the process to be able to get fans to be able to come out. You'd recognize also on that same day, the ticket prices for that game are as low as $5 US. So that's a give back in a very big way. For this competition, the night games that we have, the first game starting on the 29th, it's 10 US on the ground. That's our cheapest ticket. For the Party Mountain ticket, it's 25 US. And then you have the North and you have the South stand. So my point is that they have a lot of people who are going to come with their families. You got school, which is opening back on Monday, the 2nd of September. And so, you know, realistically, there, you got to also weigh up all those costs in terms of what's happening. So there are things that we are trying, but we know that the fans are going to come out in their numbers. And hey, with mediums like your guys and all of the media in Antigua and Barbuda and by extension overseas, hey, we're excited to be able to, you know, bring this brand of cricket. It's international cricket at its highest.
So you're getting the feeling now, Vernon, that things are really ramping up, and you're eagerly expecting a good short turnout on Thursday.
Yeah, of course. There was a major increase in sales, especially for the grounds area. The party stand has been picking up, so a lot of people have been mobilizing and getting themselves organized. You know, we did a lot of promotions with most of the hotels. I went also on a U.S. tour and a Canada tour to be able to try to see if we could be able to promote the games. There are going to be 1 or 2 areas in the United States of America, watch parties like where folks can be able to go and look at the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons home games. So there's a buzz, you know, it's a Labor Day weekend, and there are some folks who will be coming down from the US to support the game. And in fact, some of the top regional leaders will be here starting on Thursday. Prime Minister Sinkitson Nevis is touching down. And then on the next night, you'll have the Guyana President, Ifran Ali, who will also be touching down. So a number of everything is starting in Antigua and Barbuda. The Republic and Caribbean Premier League is starting in Antigua and Barbuda. You're talking about 853 million people viewed it in 2023. In 2024, expected to go over $1 billion. I'm here at the Survivor Stadium. They're testing out the screens, the lights. They're putting up the boundary boards, setting up the bars. The party stand is testing. We're putting up our signs here so that when the fans come, they know exactly where to go. You know, so we're doing our part. And as we dub it right now, you know, we got our boss, Jeff Miller, tells us, you know, we got sleepless nights right now, 24 hours. We got to get ourselves organized. In the team practices tomorrow at Coolidge. All of the practices have moved now to the Coolidge cricket ground. So the team will practice tomorrow from around about 3 o'clock to about 5 o'clock. That'll be their final practice before their first game, 8 o'clock at the Survivor Stadium.
All right, Springer, in terms of the collaboration, I know you probably have been working pretty close with the government in getting this franchise here. And, you know, what has been the support of the government, Cricket West Indies, in this whole venture?
Cricket West Indies, really, it's more or less, this is a private event, really. Worldwide Sports Management Group, which owns the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons. The first interaction was with the government of Antigua and Barbuda. And so I really want to be able to applaud the government of Antigua and Barbuda, and by extension, the Minister of Sports, the Honorable Darrell Matthew. He was the one who has been beating around and moving around and trying to convince CPL, listen, I need a franchise. Okay, if you're going to expand, Antigua wants to be on the list right here. So the opportunity came up. The Tallawahs came up for sale. They had a couple of other options. They had Grenada. They had a couple of countries that move around. But when they came to Antigua and Barbuda, based on the 4 nights, you're talking about, you know, Sir Vivian Richards, Sir Curtly Ambrose, Sir Andy Roberts, and Sir Richie Richardson. It was almost like a no-brainer. And then the support by the government, by the time they made their pitch and the government realized what was happening, and based on Minister Matthew's plea to be able to have a franchise coming back to Antigua and Barbuda, I think that was an easy sell.
All right, Springer, and I guess from those 4 nights, you're getting their support also, and their...
Oh, massive. They're all ambassadors, and you will hear some more plans rolling out. We're going to be teaming up with the 4 Nights Academy. The Falcons also want to roll out their academy as well, but in collaboration with the 4 Nights. And everybody who will be associated with cricket in Antigua and Barbuda, because we think that the development stage of cricket is very, very, very important, starting from the primary school right up. In fact, CPL is looking to roll out a development tournament. And so we have to put ourselves in a position. We're not just only talking about the man. We have made a strong case to CPL as well. We want to have our own team in 2025. There are only 3 teams right now. And the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons has made a picture of its own women's team. And on top of that, the tournament has been held in Trinidad and Tobago for the last 3 years. We have said to them, we want to host a tournament in Antigua and Barbuda in 2025 with our own team. So it's just not about the men, it's also about the women. So we want to take it. If they expand in 2024, Antigua and Barbuda Falcons has put their name up and said, we want to be the 4th team. Well, that's to the extension that we're going.
So tickets are being on sale now at the stadium, I'm told?
Starting from tomorrow.
From tomorrow. Okay. And remind us where we can get the replica shirts and Falcon shirts.
Hold on there.
Busy boy, right in the action.
Yeah, well, you know, it's crunch time now.
Crunch
trying to
time.
put everything together. And there, so all good. It seems a little buzz.
Sorry about that, Baptist.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
You're gonna wrap up now. Yeah.
Yeah, what you were saying now?
Where can one get a Falcon shirt, replica shirt?
So if you're looking for the Falcon shirt, you got to go to Cool and Smooth, King Progress, Heritage Sports, A.G. Morgan Men's Collection, A.G. Morgan, like I did say A.G. Morgan, King's Progress, Heritage Sports, and Cool and Smooth. Our offices, which was on Friday Road where we were selling the replicas, we're going to move to the stadium, but those are the outlets that we are using for the meantime.
Okay.
As I speak to you.
All right, Springer, we want to wish you and the Falcons all the best, and the whole of Antigua. We will definitely be coming out to support our Antigua Falcons, our younger players, Joel Andrew, Pittman, and all the others, and we just want to wish the Falcons all the best. So we'll stay in touch as this CPL unfolds.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks a lot, Mr. Springer. So, Colin,
yes,
big
yes.
cricket.
I'm feeling the buzz. I'm feeling the excitement.
Yes. We're going to find somebody that is going to Because you know we're going to be on the show on Thursday.
Oh, yes.
And so we're going to want somebody up there by about 7:30, 7:45 to give us a little
There's a
briefing
little briefing,
as
yes.
to what's happening. All right, we're now trying to get Mr. Tittle on the line. We know we take up quite a bit of time there to get a... good evening, Ian?
Good evening.
Yes. Well, Ian, good evening. Welcome to Talking Sports. Myself, JB, and Colin. We're here, and we were trying to reach you last week, but due to technical difficulties, we could not. Just give us a quick briefing, our listeners. We're running a bit short on time. What's the name of this competition? The Rising Stars on the
Rising Star on the 17th tournament.
On the 17th tournament. All right, yeah. Just give us a little rundown how our guys are doing and how the tournament is going on thus far now.
Well, so far we played 3-2 the game. We lost 2, 1 draw, and then today they won the game started and ended up getting rained out.
Oh, the game got rained out today.
Okay.
Today, yes. The first one they get rained out, and the second one.
Okay, Tittle, just tell us a little bit. You said the guys would have lost 2 and drawn 1. How would you evaluate their performance? You know, they're playing in different conditions that they may not be accustomed to. How would you evaluate what is happening down there with these guys, the young guys?
But honestly, still need a lot of work. Mostly the batting department. I don't think that the batters batting well at all. So mostly in the batting. The bowlers not bowling bad. We have been bowling out team, but we just not scoring much run.
So we basically still suffering from the West Indies syndrome.
I guess so.
But any standout performers thus far? Anybody who has just kind of put their hand up and said, "Hey, I'm trying to get to the next level." Anybody you want to point out?
Well, we have a couple of players. They're getting starts in the batting department. You have Carlton Flood getting a few starts. Drew start. Tanis Francis start. And Jaquan Artemis getting started. But it's just not going on. Just not going on at all. To get a 50, I said to get 100. And in the bowling department, you have, Martin. Martin is from St. Martin. He's the one here bowling well. Have around 14 wickets in the 2-day. Michael McKenzie have around 12. And Macaulay Tom, he have 7 in the 2-day. So that they are the 3 outstanding bowlers for us so far.
Do you think we didn't have enough preparation time for this team, Ian?
Honestly, yes. We could do with some more time. The time that we got wasn't enough. So even to get to know the guys and them. So I honestly think that in the future, I think that needs to be more preparation time for the youngsters.
Okay. But are you seeing an improvement though as the tournament goes on?
Yes. The more the guys play, they're getting better. The performers start to come little by little. But I just the preparation time wasn't enough time. So I hope in the future that we can get even 3 to 2 weeks of preparation, but we need time with the kids tonight.
In terms of the because going to a different environment, a different country, how has the guys adapted to the different environment than what they're accustomed to in their different home countries?
The hardest part for us here is the food. The food and the pitch. The pitches like crack early. So we have to get accustomed to that, and most of the time it's spinners. So once we can adapt to it, I think the guys in them will be better.
Did
but
you
the
say
food, the food good.
Did you say that the spinners are giving the batsmen problems? Did I hear you say that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's another perennial West Indian problem, or certainly Leeward Islands and Antigua problem.
Well, I guess so. We just need to continue work. You understand? More time with the players. Well, when they go back to their different territories, I think that they need to work on that.
Okay.
Concentration and shot selection is that's the problem that we have with the batters.
Tittle, would you say that the majority of the competitions that we play in these islands now are just these one-day version, T20, 50 overs, and now I think they're playing it's a 2-day competition that they were playing. Do you think that adjustment also played on their concentration, their attention span?
Well, I can say that for some of the players, because some of the players just come back from under 19 and they were playing 2 days. But you have the rest of them that are the under 17 players. Most of the time it's 1 day they play. So honestly, I think that Leewards need to go back to the 2-day format for the youngsters and them so they can learn to bat and bat for long periods.
All right, Tittle. Well, as I said, we're just running a little bit short on time, but we want to thank you for joining us. When does the team return back to the Leeward Islands?
We're returning back next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. All right. Well, maybe next Thursday or sometime after we can get you in studio. We could really analyze what happened down there and how we could improve our performances going forward.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, thanks for joining us.
Right,
okay, you're welcome.
Okay, calling and wrapping up. West Indies were able to complete the
whitewash.
Whitewash.
Okay.
The sweep, and so we were able to chase down the 100 and they made 108. And I'm trying to figure this score. We made 116. Now, if a team bat first make 108, how could you end up with 116? If you had 108 and you hit a 6, it would have been 114.
Plus 14.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look back at the live chat, but good to see Shy Hope. He got 42 from 24 deliveries. Nicholas Puran, as usual, he just decides he's gonna belt those ball. Out of the park. He scored 35 from 13 deliveries, 2 fours and 4 maximum, and then Shimran Hetmeyer getting his first look in a while, scoring 31 from 17. 4 fours and 1 6. So good confidence booster for him.
Yes, I'm glad for him. I want to see him do well because I think he has so much ability. He really has been underperforming, in my opinion.
Most definitely. And just about now, we have the women's CPL match taking place between the Trinidad and Tobago Knight Riders. They're coming up against the Barbados Royals, and that game should be just about starting any minute now.
That's in Trinidad also?
Yes, in Trinidad also. I don't know if the rain will affect that, but that's another ongoing competition. So I don't know anything else we want to quickly wrap up on as time is on us.
I would like to see a lot more women getting involved in cricket here in Antigua and the Leewards. As Springer saying, they want to have a Antigua franchise in the women's CPL next 2025. Got to start from now, building that team and getting things in place. But that would be really a nice addition to the whole women's cricket scene in the Caribbean.
The only thing I'll say with these franchise, and especially us in the Leeward Islands and Windward Islands, when we have these franchise, I know it's a business, but the owners must understand to create that loyalty, to create that attachment, you have to have a good infusion of local talent within the team.
That's correct, but remember that it's a franchise, okay? And that's why I say we have to start from local, right here in our own backyard, to get our women into the sport and more interested in playing the sport, because outside of Miss Hector, we don't have any Antiguan women's cricketer of note that has come through in the last few years. We really have to start from now. I think the Windwards are ahead of us leewards in that
unfortunately,
respect.
they're ahead of us. Yes, yes.
Mhm.
I think we can say that. But as I said, Colin, the owners, the administrators, they're going to have to find that balance
Yes.
in keeping that local talent. Because I'll tell you, if you have an Antigua team and you're telling me I'm going to see all Bajan or
No,
Guyanese
he's not.
or-
He's not gonna go. He's not gonna attract the
it's not gonna
public.
attract.
No.
But if I know the Joel Andrews and the
Pittmans
are going to be there.
Hayden
you know,
Walsh Jr.
Hayden Walsh Jr. You know, they're going to come out, and that is good to see there. All right, my technician is telling me we got to go. So, Colin, your closing remarks as we look to wrap up another segment.
Oh yes, it's been a good show tonight. I'm so grateful that Edith Clashin, president of the Swimming Association, agreed to come in and speak with us. So much more we have to hear from her and the Swimming Association. Crystal Clashin as well, we learned a lot about, well, I certainly did, about this free diving. I was hearing about it, but not getting into the nitty-gritty of it. So it was good hearing from her as well, and we wish her. Thank her for coming in also, and wish her all the best in the future. Thanks to Ian Tittle as well for speaking with us. And of course, Vernon Springer. He really, I can feel the excitement from him, and I'm feeling the passion. And I tell you, on Thursday, we got to wrap up one time at 8 and make a beeline straight for that
Straight to
stadium.
the stadium.
Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, as usual, it was another good show. As Colin said, good to speak to the swimming guys, and that's the whole purpose of Talking Sports. We want to get these different associations in. They could put out their program and see what programs, what solutions we can put on the table for a lot of the challenges, and
Yes.
and so that is our task here on
And
Talking Sports.
we can't highlight enough the importance of getting our youths involved in sports, keep them off the streets, keep them out of trouble.
Well, Colin, that has been the thesis of our show for all
Yes.
the shows we've done. That has
That's
come
right.
up quite
Mhm.
radical, and yes, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure having you again, and we look forward. We'll be back again on Thursday. Remember, we start in exactly 6:30 because we're getting out of here 8 o'clock, so we can get up to the CPL. And as usual, we're just asking everybody, please stay safe, watch your surrounding, be a guide to your neighbor. Let's help each other. And on behalf of all of us, have a good evening, and we'll see you back here on Thursday on Talking Sports.
Jingle your keys and get in gear with a car loan from ACB. Drive away with a loan that fits you. Get up to 100% financing and 10 years to repay on a new or used car. Plus, get a pre-approved credit card. So rev up and get in gear with the Simply Smarter car loan. Call or visit us or go to ACB